welcome to Wellness Wednesday this week. I'm so excited. I've got Marqita here on the show with me. So she's like one of my besties in Austin. And I'm going to go ahead and wait just a few seconds, make sure that we're on live. I think we are. Marqita's going to go ahead and share it for all of her friends. And this week, we're going to be talking about bikini competitions. Both Marqita and I have competed. It's been a little while since I've competed, since 2014. And she has just recently finished up her third show, right? Third show. So we're going to talk to you a little bit about, our journey, why we decided to compete, the positives, the sometimes negative things, where we are now. And I'm just excited to have her on. We've been talking about this for a while, so we're making it happen. Go ahead and throw us some hearts and likes if you're on, and then we'll get started. So we are in Austin right now, and I met Marqita. We worked a sales job together down by the airport, and I had met her through a photo shoot that we did because she is amazing at makeup, hair, anything beauty. She has a YouTube channel that I'll put the link in for you guys here so you can go ahead over there and follow her. And then she actually ended up coming on with that company, and our desks were right next to each other. So we got real close because when you're in close quarters with your coworkers and you both work sales and you like to talk a lot, you end up, becoming BFFs. So now Marqita has competed in 3 shows. She's had a journey to get to the stage, and I'll have her tell that story here in a second. But hi, Drew. Thanks for watching. But she also is the CEO, founder, president, everything involved in running her nonprofit, which is called GEMS, Girls Empowered, Motivated, Strong.
Yeah, you got it.
And she's just really taking that and just running with it. It's an after-school program, and you can talk more about it too if you want to share a little bit more about what you do. So that's what she does. And then fitness is like a side fun hobby of hers. And then she's also a makeup artist and does a lot of styling and things like that. She has an amazing YouTube channel. So with all of that, why don't you go ahead and tell us a little bit about yourself and what you've done, and then how you ended up competing, like your fitness journey.
Yeah, so she did such an amazing.
Sorry, I like.
She did such an amazing introduction. I'm like, I don't even think I need to say anything else. Well, pretty much. My nonprofit is awesome. It's meant to empower young girls. It's an after-school program, so exactly what Lucy said, girls empowered, motivated, and strong. And it's all about equipping, empowering, personal growth and development, inspiring young girls, and just really equipping them with mentors to help them grow in different changes and transitions in their life. And I started competing actually because it was a year and a half ago. I had gained so much weight. I was like going through a really emotional time, a really stressful time. And so I was emotionally eating, if anyone can relate to me out there, anything, like in the worst things possible. And I remember being at like my all-time low, like of just feeling like so horrible about myself and the way that I looked. And I just knew I needed to change. And I always loved a challenge. I always loved like aggressive sports. Like I love boxing. Like I love lifting weights. And I'm like, okay, I need to do something. And so someone had told me about competing and, bodybuilding. And I was like, you know what? This sounds like something I could really, do. And so I started the journey really for myself. I never thought I was going to do a show. I just kind of started out with the training, and they were just like, oh, hey, you should do a show. And I'm like, no, like, let me just focus on the training right now. And it was like a lifesaver for me, because what it really did was it helped me like really get in tune with the things that were going on inside of me, and helped me to connect my mind, my body, like, and my soul into one, and really kind of dig deep with every single rep, with every single push. And it helped me just kind of work through those things that I felt like were hurdles at the time for me. So I feel like it ended up...
And fitness can end up being almost like a therapy for most people.
That's exactly what it was.
When you get to that place, that's where it becomes a lifestyle.
That's exactly it.
The reason I wanted her to talk about her nonprofit too is because she deals with women, and body image is part of mentoring these girls, obviously. And then she's also in bikini competitions, and for those that don't know what that is, by the way, hi Mom, thanks for watching, is basically it's a form of bodybuilding or physique training, and bikini is a category. So there's bikini, figure, and then we have like physique and more bodybuilding types. And bikini is a very athletic look. It's low body fat percentage. You still have to have right muscle symmetry and all of those things, but it's I don't want to say less hard, but like
it's just a lot healthier kind of look.
Yeah. Right. It's a little bit more of an athletic look. So, okay. Yes. So, from that point where you got like the training going, how did you decide, okay, yes, I'm going to go ahead and
I think it was something of like a goal, an end goal of mine, because I needed something to track towards too at a certain point, because it was like, okay, I was working through all these emotional things. I was finding myself, you know, having success and jumping over those hurdles that I felt were holding me back. And then it was like, okay, well, let's have something to kind of just have as an end goal. Let's have something to kind of just work towards, like a target. Yeah, because I'm a big visionary kind of person, so I need something like to kind of just be like, okay, yeah, you know. Right. And I feel like the show was like kind of a cherry on top to just hey. I feel like that was kind of just a cherry on top of like kind of making even a statement for myself of even having the courage, honestly, to stand on stage in a swimsuit in front of people was really a powerful statement for me too. So it was not only like I jumped over those hurdles emotionally, but it was also like I'm owning my body, I'm owning who I am, I'm owning what I look like. Right. And so I think it was like a courage move for me too.
Yeah. That's awesome. And the bikinis are tiny. They're not like ones you wear on the beach. So what out of your training, stepping on stage, what was the hardest part of it in kind of the physical sense?
I think the hardest part was the discipline. I think it was like the daily, like getting up, doing the work and showing up, like even when I didn't want to, because I think people think, okay, these girls just hop up on stage and they look like this. Like, no, like, bikini competitions, they're athletes. Like, these people are athletes. They're day in and day out, like, making sacrifices, like, not doing the normal things. I mean, in the gym. I mean, Lucy knows that. We were working together, full-time job, and I was in the gym at 4:30 a.m. before I would go to work, then going to work full-time, and then in the gym again for, like, an hour to 2 hours each session. So, you know, that I think it was all a mental game, and, like, I think that's what strengthened even the emotional weaknesses that I was going through, is that mental discipline of showing up in the gym and the commitment. Yeah.
Yeah. And showing up for yourself.
Exactly.
And the courage that it takes to do that for sure. I think for me, the hardest part was the time. Like we were talking about, I was already kind of working out pretty hard at that point. In that phase of my life, it was 2014, so the gym was like full blown up and running, and I was in the gym, and then I would have to not only get my lift in, but then get my HIIT training or my cardio, whatever that was in, and that was a whole nother add-on of set of workouts that I wasn't used to. So I think just the time, and I also changing my training a little was tough for me, because I so believe in functional training, HIIT training for fat loss, but when you're competing, you do have to do some hypertrophy training and body part training, and that was something that I didn't necessarily enjoy as much as just lifting heavy things. So that was kind of a more petty, hard thing for me. But what would you say was the best part?
I think the best part, most people would think that the best part is the show. And actually the best part for me was actually those moments when I didn't want to go to the gym, but I did.
Yeah.
And then getting that workout in, knowing that I was exhausted, or I just mentally that day, I just wasn't there, but I just said, hey, no one else is going to show up. Like, you have to show up, and you're going to be on that stage in front of all those people. And I wanted no regrets. Like, I didn't want to live a moment saying, I should have done this. I could have done this. I could have done more. And I feel like that transcends even in life, everywhere. It's like just showing up, like always showing up, like no matter what it is, because no one can live your life for you. No one can wake up every morning and do what you do and bring what you bring. Like, everyone's unique, and everyone has a story and a message. And I think it was important for me, to bring that to the stage 125% and be proud about it. So I think it was the moments where I didn't feel like it that I think were my favorite moments. Yeah.
And you learn so much about yourself in those moments where you don't want to get your workout in, but you show up and you do it anyways. You start to believe in yourself a little bit more, I think, too. You start to know that you will follow through even if you don't feel like it. I think we let ourselves down so many times over and over that you almost start to predict and expect that you're not going to follow through on your own goals, whether it's fitness, business, health, whatever it is, family, relationships.
So true.
I'm going to move my dog really quick. Sorry about that.
I'm like petting her right now.
She's
trying
like
to keep her calm.
really excited. Marqita is over and wants to be right in the conversation.
Girl club.
Yeah. So the next thing I want to talk about, because this is like so important to me, especially now that I'm kind of through that competition and a different phase in my life, is the mental state that you have to be in to do this type of competition. I really think, and I'll have Marqita speak on this, because I think we were in two different mental spots. I don't want to say I wasn't confident, but I hadn't worked on myself as much as I have now in these past 4 or 5 years. And I really think had I competed now, it would be a much different outlook on my body, a much different feeling of self-worth than had I think I would have just been in a better mental health place competing, because I did find myself being overcritical of my body and, looking in the mirror and seeing things that, I'd look back at a photo of it now and I'd be like, oh my gosh, you're crazy.
Yeah.
So touch on that a little bit about the mental state and how, it's not a good idea to go into competing in fitness to try and get validation or reach that ideal body, because there's got to be a deeper why that
And first of all, I gotta say, like, that's so awesome, like, way to go to be so vulnerable about that, because I think a lot of people don't talk about that. Everyone wants to talk about the suit and having the body and looking great and the photos and the selfies and all that stuff, but no one really wants to talk about how difficult it could be, especially like women. We are always like looking at all these different images, and we're always comparing ourselves and competing with other women on just how we look and wanting to have this certain physique and certain body. And I mean, that's a real struggle that we all go through. I mean, I gone through it too. I think for me, it was really important for me to go in it with the mentality of being the best me and bringing the best version of myself. And if I just disciplined myself to work really hard, whatever happened day of show was whatever was supposed to happen. And beating myself was ultimately the most important thing. It's like, if I stand on stage and I look at the girl to the left or to the right of me, all I'm going to do is, first of all, criticize myself, criticize them. And for me, I'm not about that. Like, I'm all about, hey, go girl, go girl. Like, there's room for everyone. So it's really having a healthy perspective of knowing that I put in the work. I'm beating my own self, and every single time I step on stage, beating that person from before. And I think with women, competitors, I've seen it so much, even being behind the stage, such insecurity about themselves and really being hard on themselves, even when they look phenomenal. And it's a real thing. It's a real thing. So I think my why was, A, to beat myself, and B, also too, to be a great representation of encouraging women and being able to look to the left or the right and be like, high five, girl, you look great. Like, we're in this together. And like showing that girl power kind of thing as well.
And I think if you really work on yourself more than you work on anything else, and you get so good with your value and your self-worth, then you can look at the competition as a challenge and pushing yourself in a different way than achieving an ideal body and putting value and worth in that look. And the thing too is if you think that getting to that ideal body is going to make everything better, those body image issues are still going to be with you there when you're at that ideal body. It will never feel ideal. So what would be your first piece of advice? I know we've kind of already talked about a lot of this, for someone who's thinking about competing, or maybe they've tossed around the idea, but they don't know where to start, or is it right for them?
I would say, first of all, ask yourself, why are you doing it? because your why is going to be really important. If you're doing it just because you want to step on stage and look hot in a bikini, that's not going to work. It's not going to stick. You're not going to wake up. You're not going to eat the way you're supposed to eat. You know, everything's going to be, you know, a struggle for you. But having a strong why, I think, is number one important, whatever that is. Whether that's because you have an end goal in mind for just like inside, outside health. Maybe you're trying to break patterns that you've seen in your family and you really want to be a great representation to other people about healthy, you know, mental, emotional, you know, spiritual health, like that whole mind, body, soul connection. Or maybe it's something like, hey, I want to show women how to be strong in their body, or men how to be strong in their body. Like, it has to be something bigger than just having a hot body. I definitely think your why has to be strong enough. Another thing I would say is get yourself a good coach. You know, people will say, hey, I don't need a coach. I don't need this. I don't want to spend that money. But I will tell you, you need a team. You have to have a squad. You have to have supporters. Like, you need that. You need good friends who help you.
Who get it.
Who get it. And like, when you want to eat something bad, they remind you what your goals are. You know, and they don't let you eat that cupcake that's sitting in the desk, you know.
Yeah.
So, I mean, you have to have a great group of friends. Surround yourself with amazing, positive people who believe in you, because you'll have a lot of people who are critics and things like that. So a great support system is really important, and a coach is really, really, really crucial to the process as well.
Yes. And just one more thing to throw on that is you'll figure out pretty quickly who's going to say they're going to support you and who's actually supporting you. So you just have to know that maybe it's not that you can't have those people in your life forever, but maybe just set those boundaries a little bit for that next, you know, 16 weeks, whatever your prep is, that you really need a tribe around you that's going to be able to come over and hang out at your house and not feel like, you know, you have to drink, or, you know, people that'll support you even if you're going out and not drinking, those types of things, I guess, and kind of distance yourself from the people that aren't necessarily 100% on board. And sometimes it's only because they maybe really want to be able to do what you're doing and they just don't know how to express that. So
can I brag on you really quickly? Okay, so I'm going to brag on her. First of all, she's amazing. I'm sure you guys know how amazing she is, but I'm going to brag on her. Let me tell you how awesome she is. So I'm in prep. We're hanging out at her house, and she literally makes sure that there's food for me to eat for my prep.
Sweet.
Like making sure it was total prep friendly, like totally went on her way to be such an amazing hostess. Like, even my own family, y'all, did not do that for me. Do you know what I mean? Like, that's like just the extra care and the initiative. Like, those are the kind of people that you need, like that are so for you. Like, even if it takes a little, I mean, I know she had a long day. Like, I know it probably was hard for her but she just went and took that extra step as a friend to show, look, no, I'm not only there by word, but I'm there by action. And like, that's really, really huge. So just wanted to brag on her. Just wanted to brag on her.
I get it. It's nice to have that support. So, and then just real quick, if you guys have any questions at all, go ahead and throw them in and we'll scroll back through at the end. But Marqita, what's next for you? Like, are you going to compete again? What's on the horizon?
So that's a very interesting question. So I've been traveling like crazy. Like, you know, I have been traveling like crazy. And so I think I'm going to take a really long prep. I am actually, you know, due up to kind of chat with my coach this week and kind of see what our goals are. But I really want to get my pro card, and that's my next goal. So I do not want to step on stage until I know that I am pro card ready. And like, a pro card ready body is, you know, it's top notch. So definitely taking a long time to prep. Bulking season, which is really awesome. I get to eat like more carbs and more food and more of the yummy things, but just really focusing on different target areas on my body to really improve my physique. And I'm looking to do a show in the spring. So I'm going to give myself a nice long prep until the spring. So yeah.
And she will get her pro card. I'm just telling you that. And for those that don't know, pro card basically means that you're a professional, but you get to compete at a much higher level with all the other pros. So it's like the best of the best that go to those competitions. And then where can people find you and follow you? Because you've got a couple different things going on.
You're awesome. So I have a YouTube channel. You can find me by my name, Marqita Wolbert, and then Instagram at Marqita21. So.
And we'll put the links in the comments. So, all right, if you guys have any questions, we'll kind of scroll through and answer. Let's see here. Make sure I didn't miss any. Yes, I love lifting heavy things too.
That's awesome.
Yes, so many good comments. Thanks so much for jumping on, guys. We had a ton of people watching tonight. There is so much that you learn through pushing yourself on a health and fitness journey that applies to every other area in your life. Like consistency, follow-up, showing up for yourself, really digging deep and thinking about long-term how things are going to make you feel, relationships. And I think Drew had a question. That is such a good question, Drew, because it takes up a lot of your time. And I don't know if you want to go first.
Yeah, no, go ahead.
So Drew said, how do you balance working out and being married? So, yeah.
Hold on, let me take a sip of water to that.
So, right now, it's easy for me because my husband works out and I work out, and so we'll go together in to the gym in the morning, or if he goes in the afternoon, I know that he's going. So we're getting maybe about 45 to an hour in. But when you're competing, it's a different level. You're going twice a day. All the free time that you have, especially if you work a full-time job, is pretty much taken up with meal prep or workouts. And I think the biggest thing is having a conversation with your spouse first before you decide to compete, and really breaking it down for them on why it's important to you, and that they don't always have to understand, but just asking for their support. And that's how you can kind of recruit your cheerleaders. But I mean, Drew is Marqita's husband. Amazing, #1 fan too. He had us all at the show. He was like filming her blog, the whole thing. We were like little cheering section. So he's awesome. But I don't know if you want to share anything.
Yeah, I'm not gonna lie. I think my first show was really hard because we had no clue what we were agreeing to, because when you're married, you're both agreeing to go through the process, whether they're in the gym with you or not, they're going through it with you. I remember one situation in particular where I did my meal prep and I dropped my meal prep all on the floor, and I hysterically started breaking down, crying like I lost my child, like, whoa, like the ugly cry, and it was like my life fell all on the floor, and like my husband was like, like, honey, I'll help you. I'll like just trying to like help me. And like, honestly, that spoke such volumes to me, because honestly, at the end of the day, it's like Lucy said, like having that conversation and just, you know, you guys are kind of learning it together too, especially if it's your first time, but really making sure that you guys are both willing to make the sacrifices, because, you know, there are times where you won't be home at the same time, or you'll be out late because you're working out and your husband's asleep or your wife's asleep if you're the guys that's prepping. And so I think it's really having an understanding spouse and a supportive spouse this way, you know, and hey, getting them involved, like Lucy said, getting them involved and working out with you too. You guys can get hot bods together, you know, and then go on a vacation and show it off.
Yeah, and I think one more thing, what was I going to say about that, was also understanding the spouse's perspective. I recently did kind of this gut healing diet, and I had to remember sometimes that social aspect of going out to dinner and that you know, kind of fun date night thing was different for him too. And he probably, like Brett, probably wanted to go out to dinner and, you know, have a drink and all of those things too. So just having sympathy for the spouse too, and understanding what they're going through, and sometimes taking your head out of your own situation and thinking about it. So, all right, I think that's it for tonight. If you guys have any other questions, you can always drop them in the comments. I always go back later and answer them. And if you have any other topics or interviews or anything like that you guys want me to do, let me know. And definitely check out Marqita's YouTube channel. She is someone that you want to follow and keep track of, because this girl is going places. All right, guys, thanks so much for jumping on, and I'll see you next week. Bye. Thank you.